Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going over my favorite rescue guns of 2024. 2025 is right around the corner, and so I have picked 4 guns that I've had to do a lot of work to or that I've put a lot of work into, and I'm going to go over why they're my favorites, and I just think it's going to be a fun video. Anyway, we're going to start off with a gun that I was always terrified to gunsmith or to work on due to the complexity, and that is the German Luger. This is a 1916. It's a Russian capture. It was a World War II capture. There are no importation marks on it, so it was brought back stateside by a soldier. And the way you can tell a Russian capture, by the way, there's multiple markings on it that the Russians did. So it's not a matching gun. So I got this thing super cheap, but it did not function properly. If you're not familiar with the Luger, when you actuate the safety, a bar comes up and it blocks the firing pin release. So you can remove the slide from this gun and you can push on the spring and release the firing pin, and it will discharge around. It will destroy your gun as well, but you can do it. So anyway, when I got this gun in, someone's buddy, it was listed, gunsmith buddy, whatever, had taken it apart. Couldn't get it back together right, blah, blah, blah. There's some parts. It's never, and no one's ever responsible for taking a gun apart. It's always their buddy. So I bought it offline, and the only thing I really had to do to it was the leaf spring to release the firing pin had been mangled from them trying to get it back in, because there's just like a channel that it rides in. You slide that in, you put the other components in, but then the safety, they completely bend. And that will happen over time with Lugers. It's kind of common, but you can tell that, due to some stress marks on it, that it looked like it had been intentionally bent to try to get more, um, friction. What's the word I'm looking for? Words of English that I can't think of, but to try to get it tighter. So when you actuate the safety, if you're not familiar, this little bar comes up again, and it blocks everything from working. So if that little bar is up, nothing will work on the gun. It blocks the firing pin release, the springs back here, and so the gun won't work. And when this is too loose and you try to use the action of the firearm, or if the gun tries to fire, none of this is going to lock, or none of this is it's going to lock back, of course, depending on if the safety's up or not. But it's not the slightest movement, and if that little bar goes up even a fraction, it blocks your firing pin, which it's supposed to. It's a safety. So it blocks the firing pin from being released. So it was listed as a parts gun. I bought it $85 worth of parts, and I got it running. But I was always terrified to work on these guns due to just they're over-engineered, they're super complex. But also, once you get intimate with them, there's a level of simplicity and beauty to them that is just really fun. So I've owned a couple different Lugers, but I got rid of them due to things. But this one I kept because I just got it, by the way. I just got it. I've had it for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months. But it took me a while to get intimate with it, get used to it. Now I can tear one of these girls down, and I know what to do and how to do it. And it was an extremely fun project to get working. And honestly, once I knew what I was doing and I had the parts in, it took me 25 minutes to get it operational, tops. But I took a lot of time and took photos as I was taking apart to make sure that and looking at a parts diagram as well about where everything went, how it went back together, what parts were worn, what parts weren't, and why it was considered a parts gun, because the barrel's fine. I was able to take it apart and get the firing pin to, anyway, not to spend too much time on the Luger, but I was able to see that there wasn't anything terribly wrong with the gun. The extractor was working, the ejector everything was in line in this gun. It was primarily the safety and the leaf spring for the firing pin. 3 components, because the safety goes to a transfer bar that was also shot. Now with it, if this was a matching parts gun, I would have sent it off to a gunsmith. It's a Russian capture. It's more of a shooter. It's not. And I wanted to see if I could do it. And there we go. So it has been one of my favorites. Now, the Sarah McLachlan theme needs to be playing throughout this entire video, because a buddy took this one apart apparently and couldn't get it back together. And this is a 1943 Remington Rand I did a short on. This gun had been painted, the slide had been painted in a bake-on finish, and this gun, after it had been reblued at one point, by the way, The guy had watched Call of Duty or played Call of Duty or something, put FDE grips on it, painted the slide FDE, and just ruined several components on the gun. One, the ejector was completely out of spec. It would not eject, even hand eject. The grip bushings looked like they had been JB welded or tack welded in. I did kind of give a close up of one that I was getting ready to replace in a short, but this thing had just been abused. But it is a matching parts 1943 Remington Rand, and outside, once I got the finish stripped off, the bushing replacement, the value on this thing is dead. Like there's no, like resale value or anything that I'm looking for on this gun, except for it's a 1943 Remington Rand. My local shop called me and was like, hey man, we got this gun. We don't really want it, but the guy wants to sell it cheap because he wants to get him a railed 1911 now. So he sold it cheap and bought a thesis, and I picked up a 1943 Remington Rand, and it has been a lot of fun to work on and to get to bring it back to life. FAL. This is a Enterprise Arms M-Bell receiver. I have no idea why I'm so fascinated with the FAL, but I am. And so this gun was missing multiple components. One, there is a spring that kind of goes like a C motion, clips into the gas block up here, goes underneath to keep the gas regulator in place, and so you can actually like adjust the gas on it. The second thing is that it looked like they either removed or were trying to put in a carry handle, and so the piston, the gas operation, it's not a gas operation, but this is supposed to be tightened down, and it's not meant to be a component that's removed regularly. So this is supposed to be tightened down. It was loose, and this is part of the operating system with the piston. So this is supposed to be in place, and it also has the lug here to put a carry handle on. The rear sight was missing several components, and it was cheaper to buy a $37 complete rear sight and throw it on it. So this is more of an L1A1. I think the lower was a complete lower that they had just built. But the timing on the barrel, by the way, was great. The population of the barrel was perfect. It was just like there were several components that hit the end of the project and were like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to mess with it anymore, and we want to get rid of it. So $400 and about $80 for the parts, and it's running now. I've headspaced it multiple times, shot it, hit steel with it, and so a Enterprise Arms l1a1 on an M-Bell receiver, even if I have to send it to market, Arizona Response Systems, totally worth it, and it was a lot of fun because it didn't really need a lot to get running, but it just needed a few components, and getting to tear down an l1a1 and mess with it and figure out what it needed, what it didn't, and what the damage was a lot of fun. So that was a good gun. That was a fun project. But my favorite of 2024 so far has been the M70ab2. The M70ab2 was responsible for getting me reinterested and getting me to remember my love of the AKM. I had bought 2 of these eventually, but going through so many of these guns, originally 35, and then later on more to check headspace, to tear them down, to look at them. I've shot this one now more than I have any other AKM in my collection. It stays at the house. This is not one that I decided to relocate when I was doing the repairs and the renovations to the house. So this one has been probably my favorite project. This was born with an underfolder. I did have to buy the definitive arm stock. Every other component on this I had in the parts bin. JMac muzzle device here. Dude, the thing works. I can't really describe it. There's pictures of me shooting it. A Taro mount with a hollow sun on it. But the gun just runs. She just functions, and she's been the most fun. And especially due to the level of engagement, even the trash talking, but the level of engagement on Instagram and YouTube is what made this the most fun project. Being able to tear back into it and answer people's questions, break one down again, and look at what components, the wear and tear on them, rechecking the headspace, talking to friends. Actually, I made a couple really good friends throughout this M70ab2 debacle. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what your favorite project has been this far in 2024. Next video, I'm going to go over why I'm wearing a micro chest rig, because I generally freaking hate them. And I'm going to go over my favorite project AR of 2024. I have one more project I'm going to work on AR-wise in 2024, but for now, I'm going to go over what's been my favorite because I just want to. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support, the engagement. Please don't propose to me. I may accept, I don't know, but thank you again for watching, and like and subscribe if you want to. I was told I need to say that at the end of my videos or beginning, but if you're going to, you're going to. If you're not, you're not. I really much more appreciate the level of banter in the comment section and the people that have hopped over to Instagram. So yeah, have a great day. Get out to the range, put on a weird free put together micro chest rig, and go have some fun.